This is weird because technically they have an O war and a D war, but O war and D war doesn't equal total war. Cool. Nerd stuff. See, this is why we don't get into nerd stuff. But anyway.
Hit it.
Welcome to the Coach's Sons podcast. My name is Andrew.
I'm Chris.
And this is the last episode of the divisional previews. I'm so excited because it is the NL East where my Atlanta Braves play. Let's go.
It's our last one, man.
It's our last
exciting.
one. It's a little sad, but also I'm stoked to be here. You know what I mean? Because we
made it.
We made it. We did it. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you, Chris, for doing this and with me and for harassing all these people to get the recordings. You did 90% of the work, so thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun.
Hey, we got it done. And again, a huge shout out to everybody that sent something in to us. We really appreciate it. Clearly, without you, we wouldn't have gotten to this point or made it happen. We truthfully do think that these episodes came out very good, and if they are that way because you sent us your thoughts and opinions. So who knows what this brings into next year when it happens. But we had a really good time doing this, and we've got one more to go. So let's make it the best one, huh?
All right, let's do it. So Chris, we're not doing the wheel. We're doing
wheel sucks.
The wheel sucks. We are doing the drum roll. So let's see. Who are we going to talk about first in the NL East?
All right, here we go. We got 5 times ready.
Let's go.
We got 1.
1.
We got 2.
Got 2.
3. 4.
And
5.
All right. Chris?
So, we've got the Miami Marlins.
Miami Marlins. All right. Used to be the Florida Marlins, and they had really cool jerseys, and then they moved, and now their jerseys are weird. But hey, let's see what we got. Who's our person for the Marlins?
So this came from Lindsay. His on Twitter is @CrosbyBaseball. He's a writer for Marlins SI. That's @Marlins SI. I believe he does a little introduction for himself as well, though.
Awesome. Sounds good. Let's listen.
This is Lindsay Crosby of InsideTheMarlins.com looking at 2 big storylines for the Miami Marlins season in 2024. And the first one is the offense. When you look at this team last year, you go 84-78, but you were also outscored by 57 runs. And the record was so good because you significantly outperformed expectations in one-run games. Miami went 33-14 in one-run games last year, and that is typically something that regresses to the mean from year over year. And if you just go off the runs scored, this team should have been 75-87. So you have questions about the offense, and not only did you only hit 166 home runs, you then lost Jorge Soler and his 36. So you were already 30 home runs below average. You took out 36 homers from that total. You're banking on a full healthy year from Jazz Chisholm, as well as a full year of the after-trade production from Jake Burger and Josh Bell to help make up some of the offense you lost with the departure of Jorge Soler. The other big question for this team is, where are you getting innings from? Obviously, Sandy Alcantara's out for the year, but Braxton Garrett starting on the IL with a shoulder issue. Edward Cabrera not going to be ready for spring training with a shoulder issue. Max Meyer still coming back from Tommy John. And so you project to have 2 relievers, AJ Puck and Ryan Weathers, both in your rotation. And so now you have questions because the 2 of them coming from relief to starting means their workloads are going to be significantly lower. Puck pitched only 56 2/3 innings last year. And then Taylor Rogers only got 18 innings. So you're going to need your depth pitchers to be available. How do you configure this rotation to start the year?
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Yeah, he summed it up better than I could have. So I'm glad he came on to talk Marlins with us there for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I technically have them on over right now, but I think I'm going to change them to the under. They're at 78.5, and I bounced back and forth with them a few times. I just don't love. I don't know. I can't figure this team out. You know what I mean? Like Jazz obviously can be a superstar, but I mean, who else they got?
If you weren't convinced to go under by his beginning spiel there of the 1-run game record.
No, you're right.
and-
That's true. Yeah, I'm going under. Yeah. I had overmarked. I am changing
and
that to under.
That run differential, like basically just a luck box team.
Yeah.
Right? Like they
Yeah.
just got really, really lucky. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Mariners did something like that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And then it just like it goes to shit real fast because you're like, we could do that. That's sustainable, and
It's
sure
not,
as hell isn't.
yeah, it's not. Yeah.
And then to his point, they lose Soler.
Big deal.
And I think I wrote this. Where did I put it?
In the book of Chris, he wrote something down.
I did.
Very
I
insightful.
put no way Jake Berger hits 30 plus home runs again. Right? Like there's no way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that statement.
Jake Berger?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
so, then sure, pie in my face, but I don't see it. So that those home runs that you're getting from Soler that were easy ones that are already low as a team, I don't think they're getting replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And this team just isn't Jazz Chisholm, sure, great, fine.
Cool.
Josh Bell, I like him. I think I'd want him on my team, but if I had to support him as my second best player, that would be an issue.
It'd be tough. Yeah, it'd be real tough. You know, I think their pitching has potential to be very good.
They're young.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing. Like, so they're young and they all throw really, really fucking hard, right?
True.
And so, to me, if their arms really come through, they could be a tough team to beat sometimes because their pitching can.
They'll win a couple
Like,
games.
exactly.
Not saying they're going to win
So,
60 games.
Yeah.
I
So
just don't think they win 78.
yeah. I mean, I don't. Disagree
I have
with
them
you.
under. They're already.
I do
banged
now.
up.
I have them under now.
And then you're going to be asking a lot out of these reliever turned starters and Weathers and Puck.
Yeah,
And
that's
yes,
tough.
they've had decent springs and they're probably going to win the job and good for them. But what are you going to get from them? And then even more so, what happens when this goes awry? Even Yuri Perez, the young phenom, he's their number 2. He's one of their guys. He's got a couple blisters. I don't know how long but those kind of linger and screw with you kind of throughout the season. He'll probably do an IL stint here or there, maybe not to start. And they do have an ace. They have Jesus Luzardo, had a fantastic season last year. I do like him a lot. But they're notorious for trading guys away instead of paying them. So, like, when does it come time to trade him to whoever, highest bidder, and they'll start this whole bullshit thing all over again like they do. Oh, yeah, they forgot about hitters. They have Luis Ariz.
Yeah, but I say Luis. I was like,
Forgot
who's
about
the other
him.
guy? Yeah. So I mean, they've got the ability to stay in ball games, and lots of youth that can surprise you. And that's the thing. I think the Marlins are going to win more just by teams sleeping on them than they are just on pure talent, which is a mean thing to say, I think. But fuck it, it's the Marlins. So it's just like I said, this is a team that I bounce back and forth on. I'm going to go under now. I have them finishing 4th in the division.
Yeah, that's just out of principle.
Nope, I take it back. I have them finishing 3rd.
Oh.
Yep, I have him finishing 3rd. My breakout player is Perez, like you said. That kid looks
pitched really
legit.
well.
Looks legit. I think he'll be. And they have to have him. He has to step up, and so I think he's gonna. I don't think he'll be as good as their ace, but I think he has the potential to be better.
He's only like 20. He's got
He's
time.
a baby, yeah. But he can hit. I think he hit like 101 on the rate. Like
he's
he
no
throws the
bum.
ball hard.
He's been the
hard.
guy. He's everything that they want him to be. And they have, like, I don't even know if they're highly ranked anymore. They had a ton of like pitching guys come through the system at some point, but they've all been. You know who else they have? If you forgot about them, you might not be as familiar as I am. But Sixto Sanchez, he was a Philly.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's why.
I think he was the JT Realmuto deal.
Oh,
was revolved
gotcha.
around
Yeah,
him.
makes sense. Yeah.
So he's still lingering around in Miami. We'll see if he gets any action. It'd be fun to see what he might be able to do or not do. I took this is a weird one, but I took Jesus Sanchez. He's been a starting outfielder for them, but he's still relatively young. And I think if he just becomes a more come and stay. Like I didn't really know who to pick. Is really what it came down to.
I get you.
He had 2 B WAR last year, so again he played. It's not like he'd be anything new. It was like you just want him to improve some.
Yeah.
Because other than that, like again, we know Luis Rice, we know Josh Bell, we know Jazz Chisholm. I personally consider Perez already broken out. Luzardo already broke out.
Yeah.
Cabrera's hurt. I didn't have
You don't have a
anybody
lot of
else to
options,
pick,
yeah,
so that's
yeah.
who I picked.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. What's your player prop?
Jesus Luzardo under 193
you did it under. Oh,
and a half
193.
Ks. Yeah, that's
That's
a lot.
That's a lot.
He did. I think he had 208 last year though.
Yeah, that was
in-
probably his career
in
high.
178
Yeah.
innings. And I was just like, do they try to push him to 200? Like, what's their play for him?
Yeah.
How do they treat him?
Exactly.
And at the same time, is he here? I'm just willing to bet that he's not that guy.
Yeah.
I think he's very good. I like him. But I just don't think he's
Yeah.
close to 200 strikeout.
I think you're on the right
guy.
path. Is he going to eat innings? If so, he has a shot at it. But if not,
Oh, yeah. If those innings go up,
Yeah.
he'll have 250.
No, I agree. I agree. So I took the under. You guys might notice my player prop trends, but we'll talk about that later. I think Chisholm is under the 24.5 home runs.
Okay.
I know he can do it. I just don't think I need to see him play a full year. I need to see him actually consistently get his bat on the ball. So
I don't have a rebuttal. I don't have a rebuttal. It's
Yeah.
like it's a good line. It's probably going to be close either way.
Yeah. So
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So I'm going under on that one.
I will say I hope he's healthy because he is a fun player
No,
to
he's a
watch.
fun player.
He
Yeah,
just
yeah.
hasn't been. He
struggled,
fits. He fits the bill of Ellie and O'Neal Cruz.
I agree.
Like
I
they're
agree,
all, younger, up and coming, flashy players. Wear hard on their sleeve.
It's like Tatis was the beginning of it, and these
Yeah.
are the next iteration of
So
that.
they,
I agree.
I'd like to see him healthy, but I guess hit
Yep.
24 home
All
runs.
right, let's see what happens. All right, who's next?
So we got the New York Mets. This was a big get. We got Clem from Barstool. So his ad is the Clem Report. But big Mets guy. Let's see what he's got to say.
Let's go. Another Barstool person. Chris, you're
Yeah,
killing it.
they answer.
You're killing it.
They respond.
All right, let's listen in.
Hey guys, this is Clem from Barstool Sports. Just looking to weigh in on my thoughts for the upcoming 2024 Mets season. And I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of Mets fans, where I'm just not super stoked for this year as I have been for many other seasons in the past. And I don't know what it is. Like, a lot of the Mets teams in the past that I was super excited for, you just talk yourself into it once it starts getting warm outside here in New York. I feel like those teams weren't even that good. And this team at least has an offense with most of the bats returning that, did get the Mets 101 wins 2 years ago. But I guess it's just last year was such it was like an unlikable, just not fun vibe to the team for so much of the year. And then, the pitching was a real problem. And that was when we had 2 future Hall of Famers at the top of the rotation, granted, injured and whatnot. And we had Senga, who was like Rookie of the Year candidate pitching as well. Those 2 Hall of Famers gone now, obviously, in trade. Senga already out indefinitely. So it feels like any optimism we could have had died with the Senga injury, which is just like, again, spring training, peak Mets, you're just losing your mind before the first pitch has been tossed. So because of that, I'm just like, I'm not super amped for the season like I usually am. Maybe in a week after some 60-degree days, it'll be a different thing where you just, in the air, you smell it and you just feel like you're in baseball mode. But this is literally the one thing that's keeping me going for the season. Last year proved just how little the regular season matters because you have the goddamn Arizona Diamondbacks going to the World Series despite being like a forgotten team basically in baseball for years. And no one saw that coming in spring training. So that's my hope is that like kind of get on a Diamondbacks run. We did the old 101 win, look like a absolute juggernaut back in 2022, and that got us one wild card win. So I guess that's it. Like, it's not super excitement, but I mean, again, everyone believes in David Stearns. just follow. You trust in the moves he makes. It's like if he's not making any, there's none out there to do. We'll see what this year brings. I think once the kids start playing, you start seeing some of the numbers or highlights, or one of them makes the Mets and gets hot. That's when you can start believing in things. But until then, it's just a weird vibe. Just a weird vibe.
Clem, thank you so much. Listen, I hate the Mets because they're in my division, and I love laughing at the Mets. They're the butt of all my jokes because they are always so stoked because they spend all this money and get all these studs, and then it always goes awry. I'm actually starting to feel very bad for them. Like the Senga thing, brutal. Like and I laughed about it when it happened. I mean, I'm not laughing at the guy getting hurt, but it's like, oh, typical Mets. That's where careers go to die. But I do feel bad that this continues to happen. It's got to be really tough to be a Mets fan to go, oh, there's just nothing to be excited about. And I hate it. I don't like when a sports team can't be, or a sports fan can't be excited. So I do feel bad. But, the Mets are going to Mets.
I think he speaks in terms of the Mets are going to, and fans are going to be okay with the down year because they expect open season after this season.
Right.
Back to spending, back to figuring it out because for whatever reason, they're already linking them to Soto. It's going to get crazy. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just hey, we just got to make it through this. We're going to get through this sludge.
Hey guys, we're going to drink a lot this year.
Yeah.
But don't worry. We'll figure it out.
And I've followed Clem for quite some time. He's a very good guy. Always treats me kindly. And I follow from afar, it Mets fandom and how he, reacts to certain things and how he, goes about it. And he's spot on, right? That's exactly how he handles it. You're like, I'm not going to let this team get me up and down. Like, I know what they are. And I guarantee you come like April 15th, if the Mets start off like 6-2 or something, he's going to be all the way on board and he's going to get his poor goddamn heart ripped out. And
that's all it takes, right?
But that's fandom in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
You're trying not to be excited. You're like, you know what? I get it. We don't really have all the horses to get it done. And then it's going to happen. So he gave us the more general overview of just how you should expect to be in Mets land this year, which makes sense based on whatever the hell they went through. Like last year just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like if your team did that, hypothetically, if the Braves went and did that and said, we're just going to accumulate all the best players we possibly can and see what happens. And then it fails miserably. How are you supposed to react? Like, are you mad? Are you upset? Like, your team tried.
Yeah.
It's not like he didn't. He went and got like Verlander's been perfectly fine minus a little injury here, but he stunk.
Yeah,
like Scherzer stunk. Like those guys were not good.
Well, I mean, I think the Braves had a few years where they did that. Like Teixeira, we spent money to him,
True.
and he played terrible for us. There's a big pitcher we picked up too that just is it Hampton? I'm thinking. Anyways, but we did that too, right? Where we signed the names and they just didn't perform. So it's not a good feeling. It's a bad feeling. And the Mets just signed a bunch, and they basically all underperformed, and that's brutal. That's so tough.
So let's just do a little into the team a little bit. Let's break down the bad first, and we've talked about it before on other episodes. This rotation is bad,
Real bad.
and
Who's their ace now?
their opening day starter is Jose Quintana.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and it doesn't get better from there.
No, it does not.
So what? The Senga injury is huge for a lot of reasons.
Yep, agreed.
But I think the biggest one was a lot of people were willing to gloss over the fact that the rotation wasn't good because, like, oh, we have Senga. And then he got hurt, and I started seeing those clips of, the photos of here's your rotation, and you're like, oh, no, this is horrendously bad. And I may have said this same thing a couple episodes ago when Senga actually got hurt, but it's like, their rotation just isn't very good. You want me to believe in Luis Severino right now? I can't.
I mean, you have to. That's. I mean,
sure.
yeah. Like,
But you don't. He just said I don't.
Yeah.
I have. He doesn't have expectations. Shawn Mania, I don't know if he's a starter or a reliever. What the hell he's doing anymore?
yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm scrolling through. I don't. Man, it's tough. It's tough. So I've got the Mets, and here's the deal. I've done this already, and I'm just rehashing it. I have the Mets finishing 4th. I think the Marlins are better than the Mets.
Yeah, sir.
So that's because you were surprised when I said 3rd, but it's because I don't think the Mets get there. The Mets over under, and maybe this happened before. I don't know, but it was 81.5.
That's what we have.
No
it at.
way.
I haven't.
That's
looked
not
in a
happening.
couple
They're
days.
under that. So that's how I have it. At 4th, under 81.5. What do you have?
I have them 3rd. I have them under 81.5.
Yeah.
Just on principle.
So
I still think
you
they'll
think
be
the
ahead
Marlins are worse than the Mets?
Yeah.
Really?
The Mets have a legitimate major league lineup.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like
Alonso,
we went
Lindor,
into we did the pitching. Like I get that that's not very good. They do have my boy Edwin Diaz in the bullpen. Love him.
Was he a Mariner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love him.
Okay.
You can't tell me that when he walks out of that bullpen with the trumpets and the Narcos playing, that you don't get a little chill every time.
I mean, yeah.
That's awesome.
I will say they did not have him all year last year.
Correct.
So it'll be nice for them to have him
I'm
back,
excited to see him back.
but he's not going to be used much. Sure. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to see a lot of action.
Sorry, that was an aside. That wasn't warranted, but I did want to call it Edwin Diaz before I forgot. To your point, they're better than the Marlins just in terms of lineup. You have Francisco Lindor. He's an all-star. He's a very good player. He's still a top-flight shortstop. I'd still argue he's top 3. You could have that debate a different time. Pete Alonso's there for now.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
I don't know what they're going to do with him. You would think they're going to try really hard to extend him because I think he likes it there. I think people like him. I don't know how that's going to go because if not, he's gone at the break because they're not going to be in the hunt. You know, unless all that changes. You've got, and then you got like a slew of vets, right? Brandon Nimmo is
Nimmo, Jeff McNeil.
Brandon Nimmo is wildly underrated.
Is he underrated?
Yeah, he had like 4.5 WAR or something.
I mean, I think he's a good player. That's why
Okay.
I was
I don't
surprised
know. I
to hear
just
he's
don't
underrated.
I would say underrated because he just doesn't get mentioned a lot.
That's fair. Okay,
Like, he's good.
I mean, he's a solid. He's a
Yeah.
really good baseball player.
He's better than all the other guys we're
Yeah.
about to name. He's better than
You
Jeff
know what?
McNeil.
It's tough. Like as I talk about this lineup, maybe I do like them more than the Mets or the Marlins. I'm going to keep them 4th. But you're right. Like Alonso, Lindor, Alvarez, the catcher.
Yeah, another good player. He's
Great.
going to hit 3 or 4. Well, whatever the hell Alonso doesn't hit. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
But
yeah.
But even like, who did I write down? It was an odd thing. So I said, what do we make of Brandon Nimmo, Harrison Bader, and Starling Marte? Remember Starling Marte? Yeah, it feels like he hasn't played in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's older for sure, and he's the guy that would fall off of the roster per se, or be easier to move since he's a little older. But do you get anything out of him? Again, they have Jeff McNeil. They've got a good lineup. I think they'll score some runs. The pitching isn't good. We're aware of that, but I think the offense keeps them in games, can win them some games. You mentioned a couple prospects like. They have Drew Gilbert, who they got from the Astros in the Verlander deal. He's an outfielder. When does he show up and do stuff?
If at all.
Yeah, he might not. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But I think they're easier to overlook because the rotation's so bad. They should still hit. I have them under 81.5, which has them right around or under 500. Again, nothing to be excited for, but they're in a weird spot too, because if they're gonna have all this money, like Lindor isn't going anywhere. Lindor's locked in forever. If they extend Alonso, like Nimmo signed for another year or a couple years, like they still have a solid base. If they make a move or two, they're right back in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're in a weird spot. I think they're gonna play for next year. I think that's how the fans are gonna perceive it.
I mean, you kind of have to in a lot of ways. I think that there's, I feel like they're just kind of stuck because they really
At
can't
least
do
this year.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the Marlins or the Mets, I keep mixing them up because they both stink and they both start with M. But I would try to get rid of Alonso and get some stud prospects and be like, all right, here we go. Like let's build that future.
I don't think
you know what I mean.
I don't think that's the answer though. Like you're not wasting Francisco Lindor's prime.
I mean, is he
this.
in his prime still? I mean,
Yeah.
yes, he is. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He had a really good year. Regardless, I think the lineup's good. I still think they finished fourth. That doesn't change. Or what did
You
I
have
say?
them-
Third.
you have
I have
them
them
third.
third.
I
I
think
still
they're
think they
fourth.
finished third. It doesn't change anything for me because this division is indeed a 2-horse race.
Yeah.
And that's really the extent of it. With that
This
said,
division is top
did
heavy
you
as hell.
did you pick a breakout player?
I mean, it's Batty because
I picked Brett Beatty.
Beatty, whatever. I was
Beatty.
going to say Alvarez, but Alvarez had a breakout year.
He had a
last
really good year
Yeah,
last year.
it's hard to say. I think I wrote him down first, but I was like, no, that doesn't count because he hit like 20 plus home runs last year. So, I think Beatty, however you want to say his name, was my breakout player. Because I mean, there's farm system's pretty soft. There's just not a lot of options here.
I had the same one. Again, that same theme I've been following this whole time of he's going to get some steady time.
Yeah.
He won't have to look over his shoulder. He's the third baseman.
Yeah.
To be honest, I hope that's the case, but I've been hearing murmurs that he might not be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he should just insert and play, let him go,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens with
Yeah, I
him.
mean, and here's the deal. He has to take a step up where Alvarez was.
Yeah,
was
Alvarez
good.
already broke
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Yeah, I'm with
so
you.
With that said, I'll tell you my prop. I took Alvarez over 22 and a half home runs.
I think that's a good one.
Fully knowing it's going to be close.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Again, with the theme of being petty as hell, I think that Pete Alonso is under 108 and a half RBIs. I mean, the guy's a stud, but I think he's going to be too focused on the home run competition and where he's going to end up halfway through the season. I don't think he gets to that number of RBIs. Again, that's a crap load of RBIs. He's done it a few times, but not every year. So I'm going to say he goes under there. So all right. So that's our Met review. Who's next?
We got the Philadelphia Phillies. We got two of my good friends. We've got Ryan. His Twitter is @noontime24. That's NOONE time 24. And we've got Shawn, and he can be found on Instagram. Holy hell, @Shawn_Irv.
I am so excited to listen to two Phillies.
Kick rocks.
Here we go.
Tell me how you're feeling here. You're screaming.
I am stoked, baby.
You're screaming like it's still a game going on.
We're talking about the fightings here. The fightings. Said.
After losing the World Series in 2022 and a brutal collapse in last year's NLCS, losing 2 at home after going up 3-2 against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies will look to get back on the horse and ride it to their third consecutive NLCS appearance. The Stars are back, with Harper leading the way as he settles into his new role at first base, opening a spot in the outfield where Nick Castellanos, Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas, and new addition Whit Merrifield will see most of the time. Trey Turner should feel more confident this year after a late turnaround to what was a miserable start to his Phillies tenure. This year, the Phillies should get the Trey they thought they were signing, which will go a long way in helping the offense put up runs. Bohm is reliable at the hot corner, and I'd expect Bryson Stott to take another step forward, inching closer to becoming one of the few elite second basemen in the game. When it comes to pitching, the Phillies were able to re-sign Aaron Nola, who has been one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball over the past few years. They also locked up Zach Wheeler, who deserved every cent of his 3-year, $126 million extension, keeping him in Philly through 2027. Ranger Suarez should continue to be a reliable number 3, and fans are hopeful that the combination of Taijuan Walker, Christopher Sanchez, and free agent addition Spencer Turnbull will be enough to have success at the back end of the rotation. Everyone in Philly is looking forward to see what Orion Kirkland can do in his first full season in the bigs, and the addition of Colby Allard should bolster what was one of the better bullpens in baseball last year. Expectations are high, but it would be tough to get back to the NLCS for a third straight year, especially with teams like the Braves and Dodgers standing in their way. While everyone is looking to win now and earn the ring that's eluded them the past 2 seasons, the team is built to be a powerhouse for several years to come. It will be a disappointment if they aren't able to take home a World Series title in 2024, but regardless, they'll find themselves in a similar position with another chance to win it all in 2025.
Spoken like a true anchor is how he sounded.
What was that clip at the beginning? Is
So
that
it's
a
like
movie?
No.
Okay, I was about to say, I don't get that
I think that
reference.
was a news thing. So I know "said" is a Philly thing, but I'm 99% sure that's where it's from.
Gotcha.
So I think that's just like a news thing
Weird.
interviewing crazy ass fans because they're all
I mean, okay,
psychopaths.
I hear you.
But
I hear
listen,
you.
Ryan, that was awesome. Thank you for sending that in. These guys are your arch nemesis.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about the Phillies, and it's just because I hate them so much, and they have been the demise of the Braves the past 2 seasons, and it's not during the season. We kick their ass all year. Playoffs happen, and we can't do shit, and it sucks, and I hate it, and I hate the Phillies, but I understand why they feel like they should have a shot, because they are the team that when it comes October, they're playing their asses off, and I hate every second of it. But they're a team that is built for October.
They've got a good little squad, and this is going back to alluding to what Clem had said, even in terms of the variability of playoffs, right? Like, what does regular season matter to an extent, right?
Exactly.
Get yourself in, and the Phillies are built to win playoff series.
Yeah,
that's what they can do. They
Yep.
have the ability to do that. They have Wheeler Nola, who are as solid as they come.
Yep.
Wheeler, I think, is because of the extension he signed. I think he's now starting to get all the credit that he deserves.
He's so good.
He's incredible.
Like, we can't touch Wheeler.
He's
such
incredible.
A good baseball
He
player.
comes in, he shoves it, and Nola's a very good pitcher as well. It definitely falls off after that, right? He mentioned Ranger Suarez. He mentioned I love Ty Walker. He used to be a Mariner, but I do like Ty Walker. He gives you good innings.
Right.
That's what you need out of guys like that. I don't know what they should be expecting out of Christopher Sanchez. I don't think it's worth talking about a ton of their prospects. They do have a pitching prospect, McAble. I don't know how that's going to look, because this team's built to win now. They don't have innings to give
They have
away.
a better pitching prospect, don't they?
He had Tommy John or something. He's out.
Oh, he just got Tommy
yeah,
John.
he got
Oh,
hurt.
that
They do.
sucks. Okay.
Andrew Painter, I believe, is his name.
Yeah, okay, that sounds familiar.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was ranked higher, but he's out all of
Okay,
next year.
okay.
Or all
Tommy
this
John,
year.
man,
Something. He got something. He's hurt. But overall, he's right. Like, this team has. It is weird because now they go into the playoffs just expecting to win.
Yes.
Right. It's get me in there and go and win. And I don't know what the
It's a bad place to be.
It stinks.
It's a bad
right?
place to be.
It
Yeah.
is.
As someone who has, obviously the Braves, 13 years, going to the playoffs year after year after year, winning one World Series, only making it to, I don't even know if we made it to half those 13 years. It sucks. Like, you get complacent, like, oh, you have these expectations and you don't live up to them. It's not a fun place to be. But I do think the Phillies need to get it figured out in the next 3 years, right?
It's about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a window.
If they don't, then
They've got the team to do it. You're talking
I
Trey
agree.
Turner, Bryce Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, who's not as good as he can be. And then they've got the younger guys that he was mentioning. You got Rojas, you got Marsh. Alec Boehm even played pretty well last year. JT Realmuto still hanging around back there behind the plate.
Mm-hmm.
They got a good little team, much to your chagrin. Okay? They've got a good squad. I think they can make a push like they always do.
Yeah.
They're going to be right in the chase. We had mentioned, NL West probably taking up 3 playoff spots. This division gets 2.
Gets 2. Yep.
It's going to be.
Well, here's the deal. This might be the weakest division at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Because the
They got 2. Well,
yeah. Look, I like they're top heavy. They're really top heavy. But both those teams are like 2 of the better teams in the NL. So yeah. I think that they're 1-2 no matter how you look at it.
However you want to look at it. So let's go. But I was gonna, Ryan had called out a couple guys that I liked as well, and I was gonna do that. But I want to see what Shawn had to say first. Before we started going into breakout and all that.
Let's do that.
Let's see what Shawn says, and then we'll jump back in.
Sounds good. Let's listen in.
What's up, gentlemen? Shout out to Christopher A. Krawczyk for letting me be involved in this segment, and I'm going to give my expectations for the 2024 Philadelphia Phillies season. I think they're going to come in more hungry and motivated than ever after last year's epic collapse, which arguably could be the biggest postseason choke job in Philadelphia sports history. I think they're going to use that momentum into this regular season and come out hot. I think it's huge having Bryce Harper healthy in the beginning of the year. Hopefully he gets back to those power numbers that I'm used to seeing. I think Trey Turner has a bounce-back regular season as well. I think he's the lightning rod of that lineup, and I think if he just does what he usually does in the regular season, that'll carry them into the postseason. I do have a couple question marks, though. The first one being who's going to be the closer. Are they going to go by committee? Is it going to be Kerkering? Are they going to try to make a move at the deadline? That's something that needs to be addressed. I think that center field also is a huge question mark for them. Is it going to be Rojas, who I think is a great defensive player but is just terrible at the plate? Or are they going to try to get someone more solidified to play that position? And finally, the leadoff spot. I love Schwarber, great power guy, but I think they need someone who's more consistent, who is a contact hitter and who gets on base and who doesn't strike out as much as he does. That being said, my prediction is they're going to be in that 87 to 90 win team. I think they're going to take the wild card into the postseason, lean on those arms like they have been. I think Wheels is a great pitcher, especially in the postseason. I think Kyle Noon's boy, Aaron Nola, who's a pretty good, not great regular season pitcher the last couple of years, is going to eat innings and then ride into the postseason where he does pitch better. I also think that Suarez, who's had a great postseason the last two postseasons, will have a good regular season and will be the top end of that rotation. So I think that it's a World Series or bust kind of year, and that's what you should be thinking if you're a fan of the Phillies.
Okay, well, you heard it. World Series or bust. We thought it was a roll, get in the playoffs, roll the dice, and whatever happens, happens, right? Win a series or two. He's saying World Series or bust, but that's how Philly rolls, man. They don't care.
I mean, it's fair, and I understand why they would have that that mentality, right? I mean, obviously, the year before, not last year because of that massive collapse, but the year prior, that they sniffed it and they were close. And they were at the time, I thought they were the hotter team too. So I was very afraid the Phillies were going to be the World Series champs, and they couldn't pull it off. And then last year was what it was. So I understand the excitement. I don't think it's World Series or bust. I do think it's playoffs or bust, which I don't. Well, no, hold on. Playoffs are, I feel like, a given. It is.
He's done this a couple times.
Yeah. I think they're gonna want to, they need to win a series in the playoffs at least. I just don't know if they have the ability to actually make it to the World Series this year. There's just too many good teams in the NL.
Yeah, but again, we keep saying in a playoff series.
Yeah, they'll win early, but they're not gonna win those 5 and 7 game series. They just they've proven that
they stack up well. I do, I do find it crazy. I guess I in total in terms of Philly, but to call it the biggest collapse in sports or Philly sports history
can't be.
I mean, it could be.
No, I mean the Eagles have done some terrible.
We're not.
Anyways,
this is.
okay.
I
Yeah. No, I got you.
You don't want to go down that. you don't want to be there.
Anyways, yeah. No. So I mean, it was a collapse. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. The Diamondbacks didn't win it so much as the Phillies blew it.
Stop playing. Yeah.
So,
well, the Diamondbacks were last year of the Phillies. The Diamondbacks last year were the Phillies the year before, where they got hot at the right time.
But the Phillies were better though. They had Wheeler. No, they're better.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
Phillies are a better team.
I agree.
He's right though in terms of health. Right, Harper, full year. Yes, he's the first baseman, but he's fully healthy, and you get his bat. You're getting his production. He's going to be around. Everybody loves him. He's fiery. The fans love him. The team loves him. You've got, again, that question mark. He seemed pretty high on Ranger Suarez. I'm not, but I can be convinced. Show me a few good outings to start the year. Okay, I'm fine with that as a 3, especially if he pitches like he did in the postseason. He pitches fine.
Right.
They have their 1-2. Again, it's to reiterate. They have their 1-2. You've seen it. You hate them, but that's what they've got.
Yeah,
figure it out.
They're great.
Both of them actually mentioned this guy. I'm going to jump into my. Let's go from the get go. I have them finishing second. I have them over 90.5 wins.
I struggled with this one, but I have them over 90.5 as well. But I mean, it doesn't win the division.
No. I don't think so, but they'll get the wild card or one of the wild cards. They'll be fine.
Yep.
My breakout is a guy they mentioned that I guess nobody knows at this point in terms of closer, and that's this Orion Kerkering fella. And
They need it.
He blew through the minor leagues last year.
Yeah.
Like flew through them. He had I wrote it down, sorry. He had a 1.5 ERA in 53 innings, had 79 strikeouts. Yeah. Guy's a machine.
Yeah, that's great. That's what you
but-
want out of a closer for sure.
He went into the postseason. He blew a game for them. Not great for the old morale.
Right.
Against the Diamondbacks, actually. But so I don't know like how much that impacts him personally, if at all. But he's got electric stuff, clearly. He's a strikeout machine. He's a young guy. I don't know what they're going to do closer, but I think he's a good piece to have to kind of shore up games. And I think if they could get him that confidence in the regular season, that just gives them a bit. It's weird to just be sitting here just being like, they're in the postseason. We're, figure it out then. Get through the season, be healthy, and then we'll reconvene in mid-September and see what this team looks like. Is basically how it sounds. We're gonna do to this team, right?
I mean, yeah, let's face it. This lineup mashes. They're going to win a lot of baseball games.
Trey Turner, full year of health or good or
if
whatever.
everyone stays healthy, right?
Well, yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a caveat to every
And
single
it's
thing we're
caveat
doing
to
here.
everyone, and I do agree with that. They got to get Schwarber out of the leadoff spot. That dude hit under 200.
It's such a weird thing.
What? Like, I understand he hits home runs and it was unique and it was different, but like, what the fuck are you doing? Get him out of that one spot. So make that fix. Find someone who can close for you. I don't know shit about their bullpen, but I remember.
solid.
Is it solid? Okay, so I mean, they just got you just got to keep it close, which they will because they're going to continue to hit the baseball hard. So this team's gonna be good. They're gonna be consistent. And they're gonna irritate me all fucking year.
Yeah, they're gonna be around, but
They're gonna be around. Yeah, we're like last year we left them in the dust, and still like they turned it on at the end. They
That's all they
closed
have
the
to
gap.
do.
But we were done playing baseball 20 games before the season ended, and we stopped playing, and they almost caught it. I mean, they got really close. They got closer than they should have. And then we had to play them in the playoffs, and we lost because we stopped playing baseball.
The other thing about I don't know what they're going to do with Schwarber in terms of lineup spot, right? Who knows what they're going to do? But I do know that they're not going to have to play him in the outfield at all now that Harper's healthy.
Yeah.
So that's going to save them. God only knows how many runs.
Oh my God! What I mean, what was his WAR last year? Because he played outfield.
I think he had negative.
Yeah, it had to.
Oh
be.
no, he had 0.6
That's I don't understand.
because his.
I mean, I guess he hit a lot of home runs, but if you bat under 200
So,
and you're a liability in the outfield, how the
this
hell
is
do
all
you have a
baseball
positive WAR?
reference. This is weird because technically they have an O WAR and a D WAR, but O WAR and D WAR doesn't equal total WAR.
Cool.
Nerd stuff. See, this is why we don't
Nerd
get into
shit.
nerd stuff. But anyway, he was 2.8 O WAR, which is good from whatever he was doing most of the year.
Right.
D WAR, he was negative 2.9.
Okay, yeah, the checks out.
Very
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
So
bad
now
outfield.
he's just going to be DH. He won't have, Harper's healthy. He won't have to bother.
Yeah.
So all good there. He's my prop.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I took-
Well, who's your breakout? Oh, you said your breakout. Let me
Yeah.
give you
Oh,
mine.
you didn't. I didn't
Yeah,
give
yeah.
you mine.
I don't
I'm
have a
sorry.
breakout. I have a regression.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
You're a dickhead.
Fuck Bryce Harper. He's going to continue to regress as a baseball player. His slugging and
Where did he
OPS.
continue?
His slugging and OPS continues to fall down over the past 3 years. I think that continues. I think his power continues to fall off. I hate Bryce Harper so much, and I'm just trying to manifest here. Chris, leave me alone. Okay, so moving on. My prop,
His OPS was 900.
his OPS was 900, but it was like in the thousands, a couple years prior. But anyways, his slugging has dropped every year for the past 3 years. Anyways, moving on. I'm manifesting, Chris. I understand.
This is
But I do
preposterous.
believe I have the under for him too as my prop on RBIs. I do think that is more likely than him actually regressing. It's at like 97.5. I think he gets
I don't
under
think
that.
he's ever been a big.
He hasn't been a big RBI guy.
Yeah.
So I took the under.
Especially if Schwarber hits in front of him.
Correct. So I have him under.
That makes sense. That's
yeah,
not an
yeah.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
It's
Again,
not an unreasonable.
I understand the regression things mean being petty. I get it.
That is.
Yeah,
You're
and
just
look,
being wrong.
It's okay.
You're being-
I'm being a fan right now, Chris. Let me fan. And fuck Bryce Harper. I've said it many times, and I will continue to do that. So, who's your prop? You said Schwarber?
Yeah, I went
Doing what?
Schwarber just to hit bombs.
Just bombs.
Over 39.5 home runs.
He's that kid from like
I hit
Little League.
dingers.
I hit dingers.
Yeah, I went over 39.5. He's had 47 and 46 the last 2 years.
That feels like a safe bet.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's watch Schwarber hit, and he's so fun when he hits them too.
Yeah.
Like just one of those. It's exciting to watch.
Yeah, and
but
he hits it a mile too.
overall,
so.
we both got them second. We both got them over however many wins it was, 90.5
90
wins.
and a half. Yeah.
That's the Phillies, and I think, and I don't think you disagree, that they make a run in the playoffs depending on how it sets up for them, and they can beat any team in the National League.
Yeah.
It's not far fetched that they could make it to the World Series.
I think that they are one of the 4 teams in the NL that can make the World Series. As of right now, completely agree.
All right,
Yep.
that's Phillies.
That's Phillies. Who do we have next?
I swear I didn't set it up this way.
Ooh.
But we've got the Nationals now, which leaves the Braves,
The
for,
Braves
last,
for last?
But I didn't do that
I
on
love
purpose.
you, Chris. You did that on purpose.
No, it
and-
wasn't. That was actually
and
the
everybody knows
outcome.
that's on purpose, and I
So
appreciate it.
no, because if it was on purpose, the Mariners wouldn't have been whatever the hell they were.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So
I got screwed there. But
anyways.
anyway, Washington Nationals.
All right, so bringing us the Nationals review is our good friend and part-time producer of the show, Doug Irwin. You can find him on X at Doug Irwin, DOUGERWIN _ at the end on X. And let's see what he has to say about his beloved Nationals.
Hey guys, it's Doug with your 2024 Washington Nationals preview. In 2019, Davey Martinez said bumpy roads lead to beautiful places during the season, and it led us to a World Series championship. And there really hasn't been a single good moment since then. It was tough watching the team dismantled after winning that title, but I think that we are starting to hopefully see a rebuild taking shape. It's going to be a rough year for the Nats, for sure. There's not a lot on the major league roster to really like. There's a couple bad contracts that we still need to get out of, but we're hoping there's some good stuff on the way. Looking forward to seeing Joey Meneses hopefully hit well for us. Lane Thomas continue his great play in the outfield. I need Patrick Corbin to pitch well so we can trade him at the deadline for some prospects. Basically, 90% of the guys you're going to see on the field for the Nats this season, if they play well, they're not signed long-term, so we might see them go goodbye at the deadline. But we're looking forward to seeing Abrams continue to develop, hopefully. Mackenzie Gore, I think Thomas could stick around. And then it's all about the second half of the season and when we see the arrival of some of these big prospects. Woods off to a great start this spring. Robert Hassel's played well. Dylan Cruz is young, but he's getting there. So the record might take a step back, and I see 100 losses, but I'm hoping for some signs of optimism so that when the offseason comes, we can start to layer on some free agents and really kick the rebuild into high gear. Go Nats.
Go Nats.
Go Nats, baby.
The record's definitely taking a step back. It is full rebuild. I love how he was talking about let's have these guys perform well so we can trade them at the half and get some stud prospects in return. I mean, it is what it is. I think we both had the Nationals finishing last. I think we both have the under, which was set at 66.5. So, I mean, yeah, it tough times ahead.
Would you like a reading from the
the Book of Chris?
The
Let's
Book
go.
of Chris. I wrote a blurb about some other people, and I put the rest of the team, including Thomas, is just a hey. I hope they play decent so we could trade them for something at the deadline.
Right.
I think that echoes exactly what Doug
exactly
said.
what Doug said.
Like,
yeah.
basically, like Joey Gallo. Why the hell is he on this team?
Yeah, no
if
idea.
he plays anywhere decent, he ends up on a team. What do they get for him? Who the hell knows? But they could say, I got a prospect.
Yeah.
And they don't have to pay him anymore. It's a weird place to be as a fan because you're just like blocking all of all these guys could be up and playing, and they're just not.
Yeah, it's definitely this season's gonna suck. We have to like hold through it, but they do have some studs. I mean, you heard Doug mention both of them, Dylan Cruz and James Wood. Like both those kids. I mean, they're both 22, 21, and they could be big time baseball players, right? But you're probably 2 years away from them being.
They
like,
shouldn't
elite.
be though.
Yeah, but I just mean like being like actual like
but
elite players.
But they should be the ones to just to make you make that decision.
You're very much the let the young guy play kind of guy.
When you're the worst team in the league,
That's
yeah.
fair. Yeah, that's
when
fair.
you're excuse me, bottom 3 team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget the A's and the White Sox.
Well, I forgot the A's. I did completely forget about the White Sox.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like what do you dare to lose?
That's
what
fair.
does Joey Gallo being on this team have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Is he holding them back? No, not necessarily. But you get my point.
Yeah.
Like, James Wood, the Dylan Cruz, like they're as ready as they're gonna be. You're just gonna waste them. And now then it becomes the contract thing.
I say it's probably a contract thing.
Now
at
then
this
it becomes
point.
that.
Yeah.
But it's like just play them. Who the hell cares?
Yeah.
Like what are we doing out here?
Who knows? But I mean, it's going to be some tough sledding for him. I think we both picked one of the two guys for the breakouts. Who did you pick?
I picked James Wood.
I picked Cruz. Okay, cool.
Okay.
We went opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, just whatever. Like James Wood had a really good
You know
spring.
what? You know who it's going to be? Whoever gets called up. I mean, that's who will be the breakout.
It could be either one. Like
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it could be both. I don't
Wood.
know.
Who was it? We did the Central one. Jordan Walker. Wood's just as big. He's like 6'6" as well.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's
he's a
huge.
big
Runs,
dude.
he's fast. Like so, and he's got some pop. Hit a couple home runs this year. A couple Oppo home runs too. So you're like, okay, like this guy's got it. And it's like, well, I guess he's gonna go to Harrisburg or whatever that. Well, that's Double A. I don't know who the hell their Triple A team is anymore.
Cruz was the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
In 2023. Like he's a big name too. Like
Come on up.
Lots of potential, man.
He's drawn pretty close comparisons to that Langford from the Rangers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah.
It could be. It could be fruitful, but it's like, what now? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I mean, it sucks, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
They've got a lot of them.
Yeah.
You do get to enjoy C.J. Abrams in the meantime. He had a really, really good season.
He did.
I like him.
Yeah.
So and they do have Kybert Ruiz. Lane Thomas should have got traded 3 years ago.
I'm surprised.
I don't know why he's still on there. But like again, maybe eventually they get something for him. Rotation, not a ton. Mackenzie Gore, Josiah Gray, they're 2 good guys.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind them on my team. I don't want them as my number 1 or number 2 pitcher.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But they're
give me 3-4. I'm in.
yeah, they're serviceable major league pitchers. Unfortunately they're stuck paying Patrick Corbin. Like I don't know how they get rid of that or if it's just whatever.
They don't. I mean, they got to pray he pitches well enough that someone will actually trade him prospects.
So
but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's enough Nationals talk. I'm boring myself with it. So
I'm
sorry,
with
Doug,
you.
but thank you for the review. It is pretty spot on. We're hoping the young guys come. We hope you get enough prospects for the older guys. But and we took Wood as the breakout. Let's hope he plays sooner rather than later. What's your prop?
So my prop is I'm staying with the petty route. I'm actually going to say I love stolen bases, but I'm going to say Abram goes under 37.5.
Did it change? Because I have 30. Wait, you put 38.5. Is it 37.5 or 38.5?
Does that change whether you're under or over?
No, I'm still over 30. I have over 37.5.
I may have fat fingered that, but I think he's low 30s, and so
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna go under on that.
That's a surprising one.
over. Yep.
Was there any other ones to take?
I couldn't find any. If I'm
Was
being
there,
frank,
like, there's
I could
no-
not find a single one.
Oh, I'll have to look again.
Yeah,
just for
we'll
fun.
have to look. I
But-
bet there's a Lane Thomas one there somewhere. Probably
I
like
doubt it.
maybe RBIs. I bet there is. We'll have to double check. But okay. Anyways,
That's Nationals.
guess what, guys? It is time for the Atlanta Braves. Let's go. I was gonna do the tomahawk chop, but decided not to. So, Chris, let's introduce our dear friend who will be talking about the Braves.
All right, we got Rob Brown. He's the host of the Rob Brown Show.
He is the Rob Brown.
He is the Rob Brown, host of the Rob Brown Show. It's his show. Real creative name he's got going on there. But he went ahead and sent us one. So Andrew did not do one either. But you're gonna get his opinions anyway, just like I
all
did
of them.
Mariners. So let's see what. Holy shit! Let's see what Rob's got for us.
All right, Rob. Let's talk about the best baseball team
What is up, my dude and dudettes? It is Rob Brown, the host of The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate in Greenville, South Carolina. End of shameless self-promotion. Beginning of the season preview for MLB's best baseball team, the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta has baseball's best lineup. That is not a hot take. That is a spoiler alert. It is objectively true. Let's look at it. Leading off is Ronald Acuna Jr., last year's NL MVP and a favorite to repeat. Ozzie Albies, a returning All-Star. Austin Riley is a returning All-Star and will win an NL MVP sooner rather than later. Matt Olson, a returning All-Star and last year's MLB home run leader. Marcell Ozuna lost a little last year, but he had the off-the-field drama, so he's likely to have better numbers this year. Money Mike, Michael Harris Jr. was the 2022 NL Rookie of the Year, and he is getting better year after year. Sean Murphy, returning All-Star. Jared Kelenic comes over from Seattle, and while he's the biggest unknown in the lineup, the night he got traded to Atlanta, my dear friend Chris sent me a text that I will not read on this unregulated podcast because my dear sweet mother might one day find it. And finally, in the 9-hole, you've got Orlando Arcia, who, stop me if you've heard this before, is a returning All-Star. So it's actually a shorter list of who's not a returning All-Star than it is who is a returning All-Star. Are there any other teams even close to that? No, there's not. Even if you count Shohei Ohtani and the rest of the additions, not even the Dodgers have that many. Defensively, where's the liability? There might be a drop-off from Albies, and again, Kelenic is a question mark, but there's not one. And then there's the pitching. Spencer Strider might be the best pitcher in baseball that no one says is. You will at the end of this year. Max Fried may or may not be playing in his last season in Atlanta, but he is a star. Chris Sale, and you've heard it, so we won't go down that road, but if he can be even 90% of what he was before the injury in Boston, that's a hell of a guy to have there. Bryce Elder is, say it with me, kids, a returning All-Star. Oh, and by the way, Uncle Charlie Morton is in a 9-round slug out against Father Time because he's still very good. 1 through 5, you're in a real good spot, and we won't even get into the bullpen. Just trust me on this one. It's real good. The bad news is you're in a division with the Phillies. The good news is, despite the fact that the Phillies have ended your season 2 years in a row, I want to vomit. Your projected win total is 20 games higher than theirs, and there's no question Atlanta is somehow even better this year, while Philly does not appear to move forward at all, and the rest of the division doesn't seem to be all that interested in, competing. So, since Chris and Andrew are staring at their watches and regretting having me do this, let me wrap up by saying this. This team is going to be good, really good. The Vegas win total is 101.5, and I have already thrown Andrew's entire annual salary at the over. I mean, I literally emptied his bank account and bet the entire thing on the over. He doesn't know that yet, but he does know it's a good bet, even if he needs to ride his bike to work until the next paycheck hits. That's the analyst perspective. The fan perspective, the Braves are winning the World Series. Buy the champagne. The Bravos are about to do it again. Hey, make sure you follow me on social media at The Rob Brown Show and check out The Rob Brown Show, which streams live every day from 6 till 10 a.m. Eastern at thefanupstate.com, or get our podcast wherever you stumbled on this one. Thanks for having me, fellas. Chop it up, baby!
That's Rob. That's Rob for you.
Guys, Rob Brown is one of my best friends. I love this guy, not only because he's a Braves fan, but because he's genuinely a great dude. But
he does that like 4 hours a day every day.
By the way, that's him. That's Rob Brown every day. That's not his radio voice. Rob is that. He's on like that all the time. So, all right. He's not wrong about a lot of things. The Braves are returning All-Stars across the board. But here's the deal. Just like winning one-run games, that's probably not going to happen again. But it's tough to see where there is drop-off, right? Ozuna, okay, there's your drop-off. And there is the unknown of Kelenic. And I do think our biggest hurdle for the year is going to be pitching. Starting pitching. Our bullpen's fine. Our bullpen's very good. I'm not worried about it. I am worried about the age of our pitchers once you get past the top 2. But that's the only real question mark this team has. Everything else, the lineup mashes 1 through 9. We steal bases more than all the other teams. We have no fielding liabilities. There aren't holes on this team, and I know I'm a blind fan, but this is a very, very, very good baseball team, top to bottom. And so it's tough not to be excited about them. I think the Braves win. I have them over 101.5, which is ridiculous. I don't ever pick an over 100 because it's so hard to win 100 games. But this team has to take massive step backs to not do that again. So I think the Braves, they finished first. I think they win about 105 games because here's the deal. We stopped playing baseball literally with a month left. We stopped playing and we lost like 5 series towards the end of the season that we shouldn't have lost, that we would have destroyed. But because we were already wrapping up the division, we stopped. And so I think that we learned from that and we're like, nope, we're going to put our foot on the throat of everyone for the rest of the year. We're not going to rein it in. We're just going to beat the brains out of every team. And I have high expectations for the Braves this year. Chris, you can talk now.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. So,
best team in baseball.
The Atlanta Braves. 101.5 wins. It's only fitting that with our last one that I was convinced. I had under in Rob. Rob turned that. It wasn't you. It wasn't you. Don't think you did it. It was all Rob.
Okay, that's fine.
So Rob going over 101.5. I could ride with that. I could join him. That's fun. We could be on board with that. We'll probably end up at a couple games here and there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm in. I'll ride with it because I have them first anyway. So what does it matter? I think they're going to win the division. But regardless of if I didn't, right? Even if I had them under, based on that conversation, the conversation we've had throughout this entire podcast, it's a 2-horse race, and both of these teams get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And yes, you want to win the division, you want the home field, all that stuff. But regardless, I think it's a safe bet to say, barring a preposterous collapse,
right,
that both the Phillies and the Braves are going to the playoffs.
Completely
I'm going
agree.
to put it in the stone right now. Welcome to the 2024 postseason.
Completely
Braves and Phillies, and there's no way that this will backfire on me. at all.
No possible way this is going to backfire. They're locked.
So, as good as this team is, I have to throw the caveat, but I think it reigns most supreme here is just how sustainable to an injury is this team?
Well, I mean, okay, here's the deal. Again, my biggest fear is pitching, right? So if pitching falls off, like if, let's say Strider gets hurt, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Strider being the best pitcher in baseball, second best pitcher in baseball, if you want to say Cole, who's now also hurt. We like, that's a big loss, but it's because this lineup is so deep and so powerful. We don't need him to be an ace all year. We just need him to be an ace at the end of the year. Same thing with, and that's what I was saying earlier this year. Like Sale, I don't care. Like you don't have to be a stud. Be better at the end of the year. Morton, same thing. Father Time, I don't put him on 3 innings so he can pitch 6 when it comes playoff time. That's fine. Like I genuinely. I mean, we go into the Dodgers, right? There has to be 2 to 4 injuries for me not to feel worried, or for me to feel worried about this team. There has to be significant injuries to multiple players for it to even change the conversation.
Okay, then. Okay, I won't go there then. Like that, I don't want it to be like, oh, if everybody gets hurt, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
like, you
right.
can say that about everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to go there. They're top to bottom. They're a great team, and they don't, a fully healthy lineup. There's really not a lot of holes.
And here's the deal, Chris. Let's talk. Like you say this on every time there's a player that's a former Mariner. Come on. I need. You don't want to be positive, and I need you to do that right now. Tell me why Kelenic is.
No, you're already disrespecting Jared Kelenic. Not you. Well, actually, everybody is disrespecting him at this point.
Give it to
and
me.
I'm not happy about it.
Give it to me.
You just signed Adam Duvall, who, like, I get, sure.
Duval.
But now you're just gonna ruin the confidence of my boy Kelenic. And if you're gonna treat him like that, just give him fucking back.
Here's the deal. Duval is insurance. Like Adam, and he's a Brave fan favorite. That's why we brought him back. To be honest with you, I hope he takes away at bats from Ozuna, not Kelenic, and I think that's the goal.
Kelenic has had a really bad spring though.
He's not had a great spring.
I'm the most staunch Kelenic supporter of all time. He's had a bad spring.
Yeah, so I think Duvall's insurance, but the hope is his insurance is for Ozuna, not for Kelenic.
We'll see.
I believe in Kelenic. You made me a Kelenic believer last year.
He could be a really good player on this. You're going to hit him 8th?
You
he's
literally
gonna be
sent
fine.
me text messages every time that guy hit a home run.
And it was often, wasn't it?
When he
played.
Yeah.
Before he got a little upset.
Yeah,
But
before he broke his... What did he break his foot kicking something?
yes.
Okay.
Because he's highly animated and he
He's very
enjoys the game of
passionate.
baseball. Yes.
Look, and I love that. And I
he's
think
going to hit 8th. He's going to be fine. If you
zero pressure on this kid.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that Double A, our general manager, knows what he's doing. He's like, this kid can be special. And if Kelenic is even let's say close to what you thought it was going to be last year, holy shit, this team just gets even better.
He puts a lot of pressure on himself.
Yeah.
So
you know what? And
that might be what he's doing. Listen, he's the last piece of the puzzle for this team.
Completely agree.
It's not like, oh my God, you don't need him.
We don't need Kelenic.
But if he is, he just makes you that much better. He's
better.
going to be your 8-hole hitter. You don't really need him. Again, your 9 hitters, Arcia, who is an all-star.
Yeah.
You again go all the way up the line. Murphy, Darno, pick one. They're going to be fine either way.
Yep.
I don't know if one's DH. I don't know what they're doing.
Ozuna will probably DH.
Okay, so one of them plays. I mean, Matt Olson's a goddamn animal. I love a great swing.
Yep.
Like Ozzy is wildly underrated. Disregard that whole MLB list because that's nonsense. But just as a whole, like you're just like, oh, Ozzy Osbourne's and he's really, really good.
Yeah.
And then Acuna, like he played today.
Yep. He did.
So I think he's as healthy as he can be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's going to be one of those things that we did this last year with Ozzy, or not Ozzy. I'm sorry, with Ronnie. Like we hold our breath when he does things because he's 1,000 miles an hour at all times, and you're just afraid he's going to hurt himself. But when he
that's
doesn't,
scary.
When he doesn't, he wins the fucking MVP, and he is a front runner to do it again.
Sure,
if he's healthy. If that kid plays a majority of the season, he is going to be MVP because he's that fucking good. And
you got a good squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rotation's going to be what it's about.
Yeah.
Strider. Again,
well, here's the deal.
Strider's going to get you, even if he doesn't pitch his best, he's going to strike out a ton of guys. So he's going to be enough. He's going to be effective enough to get you through a season.
Yeah.
But
well, and here's what we're not talking about. Max Fried, who is maybe one of the best.
Well, didn't forget, but
one of the best lefties in the game, and he was hurt most of a lot of last year. He's on probably a contract here this year.
He is.
So
he's gone.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely gone.
Okay.
I said probably, but yeah, he's on a contract here, so he could be pitching his ass off this year. And if he does, and Strider, even if Strider takes a step back, our 1-2 punch is as good, if not better, than the Phillies.
Did he pitch in the postseason last year?
He had a blister.
Okay.
So like he did pitch, but he pitched bad.
I got you.
Because he was struggling with the blister the whole time.
One just aside question. I saw this debate on Braves Twitter yesterday.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be the opening day starter?
Strider.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
a lot of people were saying Max.
So I love Max. Don't get me wrong. But Max is not the future Strider is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I think people took it as like, we know this is it.
And that's fair. Here's the deal. They could start either of those two guys, and I'm okay with it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I was just curious where your head was at.
I'm Strider because he's long.
You know he's going to be around.
Yeah, he'll be here. Well, and end all be all. If Max is healthy, we have the bet. Like, I can make the argument.
You have a solid 1-2. Like,
name a better 1-2.
I mean, the Phillies are right there.
Yeah.
Like, it's debate. Depends.
I mean, yeah.
They're all close. There's a lot of close.
There's a lot of good ones. But I'm saying, like, we're part of the conversation. If Fried is
just top of head, you're easily top 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
completely agree. So
we could have the debate
so
of
you
who.
add that we could have the top 5 1-2 punch in major leagues on top of one of the best lineups in baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, this team's so good, man.
They just have. They're built. They're a team that can be built for the postseason. They just have to perform in the postseason.
I mean, yeah, we have
it's just
to.
weird because, like, again, Phillies, and you're like, well, all right, was Wheeler turn like he flips that switch? And
I would
you're like,
almost
oh, shit.
argue we're built to win in like all season.
Correct.
Maybe not the playoffs.
Correct, and it's weird, and that's a weird spot to be.
I think it's because we win so easily throughout the year, we just expect it to happen in the playoffs. Or we have, right?
Yeah.
Ever since we won the World Series, and that's really hurt us. And
It's
so
it's a different game, right? Runs are tough to come by, right? Like if Strider gets tagged for
everybody's
4,
playing their best in the playoffs too. Yeah.
Regardless, we're not gonna.
Anyways,
we'll talk enough playoffs.
Yeah, so let's get to the rest of it because I'm sure people are tired of the Braves talk. My breakout, by the way, I was going to say Kellenic, but I think it's more important that I point out AJ Smith-Shawver.
Okay.
Because he potentially, like Morton or Sale, if one of those guys get old, you know what I mean? Like Father Time catches either of those two guys. He's the one that becomes our 5-starter, and he has the potential to be very good. He's our top prospect. I have a lot of high hopes for this kid, and if he does break out, our team's even better.
Yeah, you might need him. Is basically
we might need him. Yeah.
Stand by, pal.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm expecting big things from that kid.
You know, wear out that shuttle from Gwinnett to Atlanta.
Now, I was going to say Kellenic, but I assumed you were going to take him, so I didn't. That's why I'm going
My
with
first note is, am I allowed to pick Kellenic?
Absolutely, 1,000%.
I'll say him, but I do have another one that I'll name as well. But I'm saying Kellenic just because I just want him to perform. I want him to be good.
I hear you.
And I hope he can live up to what he was supposed to be. It sucks it didn't work out. I'm still bummed about it.
Yeah.
But there's not a better situation to be in.
No,
There's no
I
pressure.
completely agree.
You don't have to be the 3-hitter or whatever. You're not.
Absolutely.
You just kind of slot in. But I said Hurston Waldrop, another one of your top pitching prospects. And this guy is another guy that's going to fly through if he didn't already. I forget exactly where he ended up. After last year, but he blew through blew through the system after getting drafted, and similar concept to what you had just said. Like if they run into a couple injuries, you might have to give this guy a call, and his stuff is pretty electric. Got a nice splitter, crazy fastball. Like he might be a postseason bullpen type guy.
Oh, absolutely, like a long reliever type.
Yeah. So who knows? You might get a use out of him, but he'd be like my official pick. My personal pick is Kellenic.
Yeah.
Who's your prop?
So I went with Ronnie. There's a lot of props. There's like home runs. There's everything. But I just to stick with my stolen base obsession. They have him at 53.5. I mean, he had 70 last year. Even if he takes a step back and only does 60, I feel like that's an easy win. So I'm going to say Ronnie over 53.5 stolen bases.
I was looking for like a 40-40 or something. I couldn't. They only have 30-30.
Yeah, they only have 30-30.
And those odds would probably be they wouldn't even be good to take.
Yeah, 40-40 sounds awesome.
I said I love his swing. Matt Olson over 42.5.
Yeah. I'm actually wearing a Matt Olson jersey right now.
I crazily overperformed his career numbers last year, 54. That might have been his like not introduction, but reintroduction of like, hey, like I'm legitimate. I'm as good as they come.
Yep.
And I support it. I like the guy. No problems with him.
Such a calm dude.
Yeah,
too.
That swing's perfect.
He is. I've never seen him excited or bummed. He's always that even keel, and he's such a great.
He's an awesome player to have in the show, by the way.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's so fun to watch. He just hits home runs off everybody.
Good to know.
But listen, that's the AL East. We got Braves first, Phillies second. See you both in the playoffs.
Exactly.
That's it. That's the entire league.
And here's the deal. Thank you all so much for listening. It's been a lot, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. We're tired, but we're super excited about the season. So continue to listen to us. You won't hear us again until opening day. Chris and I are going to record during opening day, but you won't hear it till the day after. But still, it's going to be really exciting to watch baseball that matters. And I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Can't wait. We hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. To everybody from this particular episode all the way back to at this point we're 2 weeks out.
Absolutely.
From the who do we do first? The AL West. Thank you to everybody who submitted. This was awesome. We had no idea that it would be as close to as successful in getting all these submissions as we did. It worked out better than we anticipated. So again, thank you. We hope to be talking to all of you throughout the season, whether it just be personally or on social media. Let us know what you think, what we could do better, how we need to improve. But Don't forget about us. Like, subscribe, comment, tweet, quote tweet, whatever the hell you guys do on whatever social media it is. And that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Chris.
And we are the Coach's Sons Podcast.